east of the Rockies. You're on the air. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi there.
How you doing there, Art?
All right. What is your first name?
My first name is Dan, and I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to talk to you there, Art.
And to you. What's up?
I am currently possessed by a demonic entity. It's plaguing my life. And have you ever heard of Adolfo de Jesus Costanzo? He was a cult leader during the 1980s.
No, I honestly cannot say.
Okay, well, this doesn't really have to do with him. It more has to do with his religion and things of that nature. It was a Caribbean, African-type spiritual, thing like that. And about 2 years ago, I worked in a Spanish-speaking, bodega, like a corner store here in Philadelphia, real urban setting, type.
Sure.
And, it's a cult, and there's two sides to this cult, and, one good and one evil, and he worked for the good side of the cult, and, one time he paid me some money. I worked for him, and never doing anything, of that nature, normal things around the store. Excuse me. And he paid me some money to help reverse a spell on a person who had, been in some bad luck situations, a lot of misfortune, and, to help get them out. And I had to basically, pour this powder on a step of a rival padrino, which means godfather in Spanish. And what they do is, they cast spells and they do things like that.
It's not like putting down a banana peel for your rival to slip on and break his neck.
Well, no, this was a powder that was purchased for, a very high price.
The United States government is very suspicious of white powder these days.
Well, this is anthrax or anything like that. I don't know, actually, but...
See, there you are.
Yeah. So, I put the powder on the steps or whatever. I did my part for my share of the money that he gave me. And after this, everything was okay. We went back to the store we were currently working at. Like I said, this was his rival that owned another store of a bodega. And we come back to his store, and we have to sacrifice a chicken.
Well, see right there.
Well, exactly, and I'm a Christian. So, to me, this was bad.
Yeah.
I should not have been doing things of this nature.
Right.
So, and I didn't really, sacrifice. I held the chicken for him.
Right.
And this is a little off-brand.
You're part of it then. You held the chicken.
Well, a little bit later, a couple of days, maybe a week, I was walking to the store to open. That morning, I was ready to open the store. I had keys and everything like that. And before me, I saw a very dark, demonic, draped in a dark robe, very, very penetrating eyes, something you don't want to look at. And it led me to the store. I knew my way to the store. I worked there every day. It led me to the store, kind of, telling me to go there. And then it pointed to this heavy, heavy rock, on the ground, and I blanked out. And when I woke up, the padrino, the guy I worked for, was waking me up off of the ground and was pointing to the store, and the window was broken. Everything inside the store, glass, was broke. Everything. It was demolished. It was the places where the sodas were kept, things like that were all broke.
Something really big had happened.
Something, exactly.
Yes.
And he knew what had happened. He wouldn't explain to me what it was or anything like that, but he knew that I had done this. It's just it wasn't me. Something had possessed me to do this. And from that day on, after he actually tried to take it away from me, showering me in blood of associated animals with the religion. And it didn't work. He's tried many other things since then, and it hasn't worked. So the main reason I called was
you are possessed by an evil entity of some sort, and you are doing
things to not just him, but to every padrino that's locally around this area that is on the good side of this religion. I know that it's me, but it's not me. That there's been robberies.
That sounds like the beginning of a legal defense to me. It's me, but it's not me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but Art, when I tell you this, I mean this wholeheartedly.
You can tell Art Bell this, but
exactly.
When you tell the detectives this, you're going to have a
I haven't
problem.
been arrested.
I understand.
And the thing is, I'm pleading. I mean, there's many listeners to your show, and I'm asking if there's anybody out there
who could lift this,
who could help me shed light on this situation at all, to please come forth with something, because he has no answer for me. He has done what he has done, and it has not gone away. I've been plagued by this thing. It will not go away. And
you held the damn chicken.
I held the chicken.
It sounds like opening the door, brother.
And I poured the powder on the steps.
That's right.
I got myself into it. Art, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I don't want to take up too much time, and I just think you have a great show, and I'm sorry you're not on every night, and George is great.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you very much, Art.
You take care, and if there's anybody who can lift this horrid curse from this man who's doing things that he's going to have a very hard time explaining, then come forth. But it sounds to me like you invited in your own fate, sir. Chicken wings.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I'm calling from WABC in New York.
W77.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to let you know a couple of things. Number one, I published in a major film magazine in New York here that September 11, 2001 was going to be the biggest event in the history of America.
You published that?
Yes, I did, and I could send you...
Well, yes, do.
Anything you want. If you want to give me a fax number off the air.
Well, that's difficult to do being the lone operator here, but just email it to me.
Email it?
Email, yes. Email.
Another thing I did was I also predicted, in that sort of vein, Chernobyl.
Okay, you're making these predictions based on what?
Well, I'm doing the biggest musical the world's ever seen.
Musical?
Yeah. So said that I published that September 11, 2001 was going to be the biggest event in the history of America.
All based on the release date of your musical?
Of a film, in this film.
Okay, so that's a little bit different than predicting what actually occurred on that day.
Well, it's not that different.
It's very different. Yes, it is. I mean, there were obviously a lot of things would have occurred on September 11th other than the horrid thing that did occur, right? So
another thing I did was I'm the only one in the whole world who, in 1974, I recorded a California mega concert that was nearly bigger than Woodstock.
Okay.
I've got major press for that.
Okay.
And I have a video of it in also. Can I mention the name of the concert?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd rather you didn't. But,
right. I have a video of that concert. It's the most astounding thing you've ever seen.
Okay. Why are you telling me all this on the air? I mean, how does it relate to what we're talking about?
I don't know. Is the show like totally devoted to ghosts and UFOs?
No. But nor is it totally devoted to sort of press releases.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Happy for you. I thought we were on to something for a moment there. The interesting thing, of course, about September 11th is that there really was nobody that I'm aware of. I mean, there were some sort of weak attempts at claims of predictions, but there really were none. And I thought it was really fair, frankly, when many people said, well, where were the remote viewers? Where were the psychics? Where was the whole group of them in one of the biggest events that's occurred, the biggest event, I suppose, that's occurred in our lifetime? Not a one of them caught whiff of it. We had no people calling up saying September 11th, oh my God, something awful is going to happen, watch out, all the rest of it. What you would have expected just simply didn't occur in or out of this forum or any other that I'm aware of. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. This is the Antichrist line. I slip. Are you an Antichrist?
Yes. I am one of the...
Even Antichrists must turn their radios off.
My radio is off.
Then turn off your television.
television.
Really? Then turn off those continuing instructions from your master.
Is this the Antichrist line or the line
yes,
for
it's the Antichrist.
Delusional schizophrenic?
Yes, 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 it is.
I'm sorry, but we have a different way of thinking than some of you humans. There are many of us Antichrists. We're part of a collective. We're part of a quadrumvirate in the kingdom of hell.
Boy, you sure sound like the real McCoy to me. I don't even like your laugh. So
what would you like to know?
Well, I'd like you to turn down the instructions from your master in the background.
Okay, that's in the other room. One moment.
All right, yes. It's very important. I can't concentrate. Really can't concentrate. This fellow, though, sounds... I don't know. Sounds pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so
now, first off, we don't use the term Antichrist.
Yeah, I can understand you wouldn't think of yourself that way any more than a trash collector. You know, trash collector likes to be known as a WADA, some sort of sanitation engineer.
Correct.
So what do you call yourself?
Well, we don't use a lot of words that you humans use, like good and evil.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yes, we're sons of Lucifer. We're sons and daughters of Lucifer. We're all over the place. We, instead of evil, we look at good and evil like, say, dark and light, or the positive and negative poles of electricity of a battery.
Yeah, but being one of the Antichrist, wouldn't you naturally be more of a negative force than you would positive?
Well, negative is a moot point with us.
I don't know.
What we would
maybe
like
I can understand. In other words,
to the beauty.
To you, it might be a moot point, but to the people who experience your workings, it doesn't feel that way at all.
Oh, those are the people in the lower hell realms.
That would be all of us.
Full of a lot of shenanigans and disassociated spirits.
You're trying to suggest you're above all that.
We have a mission, and
what is it?
It is to bring you closer to our Father, to bring Him love, and to bring you pleasure, and to draw you into our world.
Pleasure.
Because He is the God of this world, and those of you who don't want to accept us will go off with that other.
All right. Here's the thing that I think stops a lot of people who are listening right now from coming over to your side.
Yeah.
You know, the pleasure part, that sounds good. Mm-hmm. But there's this story going around up here that, you know, a lot of people who do this sort of thing end up, in the end, with their soul in the hot, fiery place getting tortured. You know, there's that story going around up here. Now, if that's wrong, you should correct our impressions.
Well, no, it's pain and suffering that gives us wisdom, that teaches us the lessons, and then we find the pleasure in it. It's easy, complacent life that keeps people living like cows.
It is the pleasure in the pain that people have to understand before they can want what you have to give, right?
Yes.
I think I've got it.
We come from a place you might call another dimension. We call it the void, and it's everywhere. And
as in null and void.
Art, I can't...
You know, you really have a rotten laugh. Has anybody ever told you that?
I've been told by some I have a wonderful laugh, a very endearing, sometimes
captivating,
laugh.
Possibly.
Well,
I don't know.
Art.
Yes?
I've got work to do, and I thank you for having me on your show. By the way, this is the first time I've tried calling.
There's so much good out there to crush in so little time, huh?
Oh, it'll come over to our side, and the rest of the sheep will just drift off.
Sheep are in the news, you know.
Oh, yes. And they're mad.
Oh, God. Goodbye. Oh, my God. All right, there you have an example of the Antichrist line. Close to the Rockies, you're on here.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to tell you a story, an experience I had. It was about 20 years ago, and it was...
What is your first name?
Well, I'd like to be anonymous.
Well, I know. Pick a name you've always liked.
Kathy.
Kathy. Oh, that is... I've always liked the name Kathy, too. Okay, Kathy.
Okay. Well, it was about 20 years ago, and I was living in New York at the time, and I had this experience where I fell asleep, but I wasn't really asleep. It was more like what you would call a lucid dream or some state like that where you're not
right.
really in a deep sleep and you're aware of everything. And I saw a vision of what you would call Satan or the devil or whatever you'd want to call it appeared at the foot of my bed.
Oh.
And he appeared to be a man, a very, very good-looking man, as a matter of fact. And it was all sort of telepathic. He didn't speak, but he was offering me a pact with him that if I were to make this pact, I would have basically a very wonderful life, whatever I wanted, material, anything that I wanted.
And how old were you at this?
I was in my early 20s.
In your 20s, okay.
Yeah. And I should say I was raised as a Catholic, and so for years I thought perhaps this was just my own thoughts about Catholicism or something that had come up, but I don't believe that. I really believe this was so real that this really happened.
Do you remember your response?
Yes, I do. I know that he made clear that I could have what I wanted if I would, in return, help him to corrupt souls. That I would have to help in this mission, which was to capture
souls. Capture souls. Yes,
yes.
Well, here was an opportunity to put one foot on the ladder. So,
and I have to say, since I had I was not prepared for this at all. I had not been asking for any pacts with the devil at all. I had no preparation, and in the moment, it was so alluring. It was so quite seductive that I started to reach out toward him. He reached his hand out toward me,
yes.
And I started to reach out toward him because it was so just so
attractive,
irresistible.
Yeah.
And the force, was irresistible. And then at the last second before I touched him, I said, "No, I want God." And I don't know why I said that either. It was just like, it just came out. And he disappeared. And I thought, oh, thankfully it's gone, it's over. And then I looked at the side of the bed, and he reappeared, but now I could see, like, souls in hell below him. He was like, I could see he was like standing on their shoulders or physically oppressing them. So you could
clearly see you made the right choice.
And they were all like reaching out toward me, and I don't know if they were trying to pull me in or they were asking for help, but my impression was that it was all chaos. I didn't see fire and brimstone, just chaos, the worst sort of imaginable chaos that they were living in, and they were asking for help. And he was laughing and just almost saying like, these are the souls, that I have captured, and I just like, then it just disappeared and it was over. And for years, whenever I tell the story, the reactions I get are, just sort of from stunned disbelief to sort of negative about, well, this is your Catholic background. But I swear to you.
Me. Look, I can hear it in your voice. You don't have to swear to me. Thank you very, very much for the call, and have a good morning. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Art.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
I'm in Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Yeah, I was listening to you Friday night, and you had a fellow on there that said he could travel out of time. He could stop time.
Stop time, yes. We talked about that last week a little bit. He claimed he could literally stop time, like in an old Twilight Zone where everything freezes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I tried desperately to call in that night, I listen to you every night. I'm a long-time listener. My dad turned me on to your show.
Are you telling me you've done this or you know somebody who does?
I do. I don't do it on purpose. It just seems to happen. It's like a real. I get real dizzy and everything's real hazy.
And you can stop.
Yeah, things just all of a sudden stop, and I get a head rush.
Yeah.
And while things are stopped, I've developed kind of a habit of fooling around while things are stopped, but I don't know how long it's going to be stopped for.
Fooling around. How?
I shoplift.
You do?
Yeah. I've become quite the klepto when things like this happen.
Well, I didn't exactly say that earlier, but I suppose, fooling around with something like that might be something you try to sort of prove the theory.
It's something, it's real easy to do, like, say you're in Circuit City and you're looking at the DVDs and things go wiggy.
Yeah.
And you've got a copy of something sitting there in front of you and everything stops. It's like, well, I'll just take this and walk out of the store with it.
In your hand, in the open.
Yeah, right out in the open.
And you claim you've done this and no alarms went off, nobody chased you? Nothing.
Nothing.
You just walk right out of Circuit City.
Right out. I haven't had the guts to knock over a bank yet because I don't know how long it's going to last.
In other words, you're telling me this can end involuntarily.
I don't control it. It just comes and goes.
Oh, then you're right. It could be awfully dangerous.
So you got to be real careful.
Well, weren't you a little concerned, headed for the door of Circuit City with a DVD?
Oh, yeah. It gets real risky. That's why it's a rush.
Can you make it happen?
No. It just happens. And I went to the doctor.
You told a doctor about this?
Yeah, I been going to the VA, to the psychiatrist, since I got out of the Army.
Okie dokie. And what does your doctor say?
Well, they put me under hypnosis to find out if this actually happens, to see, because I wanted to know if I was going crazy or not.
Fair enough, yeah, sure.
And sure enough, they said, well, you believe it's happening. And I'm like, okay.
You mean that's actually what they came back with, that yes, you do believe
I believe it's happening. My doctor said I believe it's happening. And I'm coming home with stuff and never getting caught. So you never know. I could be lifting people's wallets. And
well, have you done anything other than short-term profit with it?
Oh, yeah. Back when I was in school, I used to look under girls' dresses and stuff. Little harmless things. It's happened all my life. Bad stuff. That's why
it's so nice to know you're out there.
Well, see, that's another thing. I suspect lots of people can do this, and you were talking about invisibility tonight.
Well, have you ever seen the statistics on the amount of theft that stores lose? It's terrible, 10 or 20% or something like that. I wonder how much of it is due to people like you.
And I was wondering about that girl that called from Chicago.
Yes. I
was thinking maybe she might have slipped out of time temporarily when that picture was taken, involuntarily.
Anything's possible, sir.
And
that's what I've learned. Anything.
I'm sure there's people out there all over the world that can do this and have been doing it. You ever lost your keys or your wallet?
But don't you? Well, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, yes.
And can't figure it out?
I always figured it went to a place called the Land of the Lost.
Well, it may be somebody doing what I'm doing.
Also documented in a Twilight Zone. That's right. It could be people like you. What a menace. I mean, you have this incredible talent, and what are you doing? You're looking up girls' dresses, and you're taking stuff from Circuit City. Now, that's... surely there has got to be... So what is it next? A bank? You're going to try a bank?
No, that's too major leagues. If it decides to peter out on you in the middle of the job, you're in trouble.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what jail could hold you?
Well, that's true.
In the long term.
In the long term,
But
yeah.
you would get a record.
Yeah.
They'd
know who you were. You wouldn't be saved, so.
All right. Well, extremely interesting and somewhat pathetic.
Yeah, it's too bad that one guy couldn't share what all he had done last Friday. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories to tell, too.
No doubt, sir. Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you, Art.
And to you. What do you say about that? What a talent, and what a waste of talent, you know, for a DVD. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi. Art, my name's Sharon, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, Sharon.
Okay. On June 5th in 1999, my husband, myself, and my daughter, who was 18 at the time, was standing out in our backyard. We lived in the city. It was a, nice night. The moon was out. I'm standing there. We're just talking, and I look up and I see this light in the sky, and it's a beautiful blue color.
Mm-hmm.
And before I can say anything, it kind of gets brighter and then flashes across the sky. Well, when this happens, all the electricity goes out everywhere. There was no dogs barking. We lived close to a highway. There was no cars. My son-in-law and son were inside playing the PlayStation, those PlayStation games.
At least until the power went out.
Yeah. So then my husband asked me strange questions. He said, "What just happened?" And I said, "Did you see that?" And my daughter said, "I'm scared." And I said, "Wait a minute." So we walk out to the driveway, and we're out there, and it's like a good 2-3 minutes this is going on. My son-in-law and son come outside and say, "What happened?" Goofy things. They said, "Well, did the moon just blow up?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm standing there in pitch dark blackness. Have you ever been to San Antonio, the Tower of Americas? I can see it.
My dear, I did basic training at Lackland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, even the Tower of Americas was out because we could see it. We live close to downtown.
So whatever it was knocked out all the power.
Yeah, there was no sound, no cars.
And all right. So obviously, in a city that size, there's going to be news and news stories of what happened. What did they claim?
Nobody said anything. That's what freaked us out.
And for how long did the power remain out?
I can't give you an estimate. 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
And here's the kicker: when their PlayStation game came back on, if electricity is interrupted, the PlayStation game will automatically start over and reset.
Of course.
It didn't. Their little cars crashed into each other. The game was actually still going on.
Oh, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, and the clock in our bedroom didn't lose any time, and it didn't have a battery in it or anything.
Oh, well, that's doubly weird.
Yeah.
All right, so I have no idea what happened to you, but it begs questions about magnetic fields, I suppose, and perhaps even time skips or something like that. There's a lot of those that seem to go on. There may even be evidence that a time travel of a sort is occurring. And again, I refer you back to so many people who believed that Nelson Mandela had died. I was one of them, that was in my memory, that Nelson Mandela had died. But in fact, he, of course, did not, went on to lead South Africa for a period. Anyway, it may well be that when there is a time disruption of some sort, or a time traveler does something that disrupts the continuity of what otherwise would have been, that, as Professor Kaku says, another bubble is formed, and we're all of a sudden in a world where an outcome is different than it would have been otherwise. However, some vestige of memory appears to be still in our minds about the way it would have gone if it hadn't changed. And that's the best way I can think of to explain it. Maybe, perhaps that was one of those moments. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning, sir.
This is Cat from near San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
Back in the late 60s, got out of the military, went to work for one of the big companies in the San Francisco area. And I had a bunch of women working for me. 19 of them.
19 women.
Yeah, they were a pretty good crew, like a little family. They were good. They really did really efficient work. Everything was going fine. Added this one new gal, and all of a sudden things started going to hell. Sick leaves went up, and people started making a lot of mistakes. And I started getting a little concerned, started really paying attention to my flock.
And you associated this with the addition of the new one?
The only thing that was different.
Okay.
And I watched her, and one day, towards break time, she was kind of wandering around through the work area as if, well, you've seen a dog cutting sheep or cattle out of a herd?
Oh, sure.
She was doing just like that. And she was backing this one gal up, and this gal was really frightened. So I started off in her direction. This gal, that was frightened, she had her hands up, and this other one was reaching for her. About the time I got to her, I turned her around, put my hands on either side of her head.
Yes.
And she had this real funny reaction. She lost all the color out of her face, and her knees buckled. She hit the floor. I told her if she ever did that again, I was going to finish the job. Just after that, a woman from another area came walking up to me. She claimed she was a witch. And she said that this gal that I had just dealt with was a psychic vampire.
A psychic vampire?
I'd never heard of it before.
This is the kind of thing that you get for working with so many women.
Well, it was the first time I ever ran across
it. You've got a psychic vampire, you've got a witch, and that's a pretty small crew to come up with...
in the San Francisco area, you've got a lot of people who...
Well, you've got a point. All right, so she was a psychic vampire, and the witch was helping you out by telling you this.
Well, she was telling me what the story was.
Gotcha.
She apparently was attempting to deal with it, and apparently, well, hey, this other one was messing with my particular flock, and they were doing good work up until she showed up, so I got angry.
You keep calling them your flock. Well, so she was virtually feeding on your flock.
This is what I was told.
Uh-huh. So what happened?
Well, she left a couple of days later. Everything finally settled down and returned back to normal.
I've heard of psychic vampires.
She had a real funny look on her face when she was backing this gal up.
Did the members of your flock have any comment on this woman?
Yeah, they started talking about it afterwards. They started telling myself and a couple other people they were scared of hell of her.
I mean, were their energies depleted? Were they psychically affected in some way?
Their sick records went up enormously after this gal showed up. And it was almost as if I had an epidemic on my hands.
Yeah, and your production numbers, no doubt, fell.
Like a rock.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, I guess the situation cleared, and it was okay after that.
Yeah. It was a new one on me. I'd never heard of it before. As a matter of fact, I'd never met a witch before in my life, so...
A witch would know.
Yeah?
Believe me, a witch would know. Well, that's an amazing story. You're not employed there any longer.
No, I'm not employed there any longer. Gotten long in the tooth and retired myself.
I see. But that's one to remember, huh?
It's one that I put in a basket that I have labeled. I haven't got the wildest idea of what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Do you often tell people about this?
No.
Mm. I appreciate your telling me.
All righty.
You have a good morning.
I shall.
Yeah, that many women. I don't know. He called them his flock. Psychic vampires. We have done a little bit of talk about psychic vampires in the past. They're an interesting group, and they do appear to be real.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Art. I don't know where to begin other than
at the beginning, sir.
Pardon?
At the beginning.
Okay. I live in San Francisco and in the inner city, and it drives me crazy. And to get away from it all and to meditate, I like to go at the beach at night and look at the stars.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago on a Saturday night, I went. It was just turning dusk. And I have a certain method of signaling. I says, I'm going to make contact somehow tonight. I don't know how.
Wait a minute. You're out there trying to contact extraterrestrials?
Right. And I have my own unique method. I am not going to reveal to coast land because I don't want your vast audience to be aping my own special way of getting in touch with the space brethren.
Well, darn.
Okay, so the first night I used my signaling method. Overhead came, just as dusk came, a huge circular craft, massive in size, hovered silently above my head for about 3 minutes, and moved landbound. So I stayed on the beach, kept signaling, nothing. As darkness fell, a very strange thing. I'm flashing my light on the shoreline. I saw.
You just told us. So it's a flashing light you're using.
God, am I stupid?
Huh.
God, I just
well,
you know,
that's not new. I mean, look, there are a number of organizations that try to make contact using a flashing light. Dr. Greer's organization, for example. So
all right.
No big
cat's
deal.
out of the bag. At any rate,
all right.
So I'm flashing my light on the beach. I see a penguin, an Arctic penguin in San Francisco. I thought it was a shorebird with a broken wing. I look at it, it's a penguin. It swims out to the water like a penguin does and does its penguin thing. I said, wow. Okay, so that's two very strange anomalies in one night.
Why would you imagine an Arctic penguin would be there?
I've talked to friends. They said maybe it escaped from the zoo, maybe it's Earth changes, like that guy wrote about, what was it called? That coming global superstorm. You know that guy with the other guy?
That guy with the other guy, yeah. Sure.
Right. At any rate.
Yep.
So I come home and try to digest because I wasn't sleeping well. I go down to the beach to get the salt air to relax, you know.
Yes.
So I figure I'll try to get a couple hours sleep, come back the next night. Next night, okay, beautiful, go down there at dusk, beautiful sunset on the beach. Start my signaling process.
I hope, by the way, you were using a Sea Crane LED light.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to pay $80 for a flashlight. At any rate, no, it's they have great products. I just am on a budget.
All right, so here you are. Signaling
so here
again.
I am on the beach, okay. Very busy beach day on a Sunday. Everybody's there. I says, well, you know, I got to get far and away from people if I'm going to make contact.
Right.
Maybe they'll take me away to a better world. Who knows? Because I knew there was something benevolent about a circle. You know, life is a circle. Circular shaped craft. This has got to be good. So I'm signaling. 5 minutes. There it is. Okay.
What? What is?
I see the pattern of lights. Okay.
Okay.
It's circular.
Yes.
All right. Now, don't ask me how, but I know I'm in telepathic contact. And ever since this has happened, I've had, all
right, well, it's very important to understand. Hold it, sir. What did they tell you if you were in contact? What
did they tell me?
That's right.
Well, I had to make it down to the beach, way, way far away, about 4 miles towards Pacifica Daly City, to get far away from people. So I'm walking, exhausted. I took a nap, right? There were 3 crafts, following me, and I knew I was going to make contact. So, I just wait.
In the interest of time, try and answer my question. What did they tell you?
Okay. All right. I'll cut right to the chase.
Good.
When I woke up, came back, they were there, fires, signaling. Okay. They were speaking in a language that I didn't know, but I understood.
All right, fine.
Which was come with us, come along with us, be with us.
Yeah.
And I was very, very, very scared.
Why? I mean, this is what you wanted.
Because I fully saw their craft. It was huge, triangular, red, glowing like the sun. 3.
But you went down there for this reason. You wanted contact, so now you got it. Now you're scared.
This was not the being I saw. This was not the ship that I saw the night before. This was triangular. The night before it was circular. You understand? Okay. Now a triangle. That means yield. A circle is life. I firmly know and believe this, that we are being visited by multitudes of races. They are very interested in the goings-on of Earth.
So why
some are good, some are bad.
Why didn't you go?
Why didn't I go?
Yes.
Because I got the impression that these beings were not benevolent at all, that they were malignant, and that they wanted to use me for some kind of like what Whitley went through, or some kind of Island of Dr. Moreau type of a human experimental animal thing, or God knows what else.
Oh,
and,
sure. You felt you would have been probably you felt you might have been cut up, mutilated, and otherwise spindled.
Exactly. But I know deep in my heart that there are good, benevolent races out there, which I will make contact with, which I will go with. But
well, the truth of the matter, sir, is when you flash that flashlight, you don't know what's going to come.
No. But I know how to identify them, and I know I have perception and intuition.
So you think that the guys in the triangular craft are not our friends?
Guys and gals.
Well, okay,
guys and gals.
And the ones.
Make that clear, because
the ones
in final contact was with a woman.
Wait a minute. Oh, really?
Yes, really.
A woman?
She was very Zoftic, shapely, like a bombshell figure. It was at night. But I could make out her figure, and she was wearing a gown, like a Stevie Nicks kind of robe-ish gown. Huh. She had dark hair, long hair, but I could not see her face, and she was flashing a light like what was on the ship.
So you somehow have even resisted the Stevie Nicks of extraterrestrials and walked away from it, right?
All right. I was running along silently on the beach because I knew that I did not want to embark on this. And all they heard were my keys dangling.
Well,
I had the flashlight
how do I know you weren't
just
chasing Stevie?
Pardon?
How do I know you weren't chasing Stevie down the beach?
It wasn't Stevie that was on my mind. It was a different woman who, from way back when, I've been carrying a torch for, who fits that description.
Well, listen,
I'm
afraid this torch has got to go out. I appreciate the. We operate by crisis in America, and until there is a crisis, rarely do we do anything. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, sir. Daniel in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Anyone who steals or kills for food or oil in an apocalyptic Mad Max scenario is a spiritual fool. Because physically you can run, but you cannot hide spiritually. You will be judged.
Well, perhaps so. But there would be, even you must admit, you can know there will be many of them. And you heard them on this program this morning.
Well, hopefully they'll change their mind after hearing this, because under this scenario, the sooner you surrender to the new totalitarian military New World Order and are executed for refusing the mark of the beast, the better for you then and for the eternity of your soul. And only a fool would steal or kill for food or oil and damn his soul to hell forever.
Well, I understand that from your point of view, that's absolutely true. But man after man after man, and some women have come on here this morning and said, in a New York second.
But to prolong even if they're not spiritually minded, to prolong your life under that scenario
is a sin.
To prolong your own agony, pain, and suffering.
Yep, I've got it. All right, sir, I've got it. Thank you. I know. But it's not going to matter. That's something you have got to understand. It's not going to matter to these people. So it has to matter to you.